Bethel here, creator, writer, and artist of Long John, Western webcomic, which you can read in its entirety so far at longjohncomic.com. Here with another video of me talking over a very quickly sped up inking of a page from chapter 4, which is up and coming. We have a scene here from midway through the chapter, introducing a new character and kind of giving a sense of what she's like and kind of her role in the area that the entire story takes place in. I don't want to spoil too much. I'll tell you that her name is the Rook, because that was mentioned briefly in chapter 3. And she works for the bad guy in the same way the Bishop worked for the bad guy, but in a different capacity. And this scene is really all about kind of giving us a sense of her character and hopefully getting readers excited to see her show up again, play a larger role. This is a scene that involves lots of talking, especially talking while not moving. So I really struggled when laying it out to make the scene interesting. In addition to having a lot of interior sort of establishing shots that involve lots of perspective and the thing that always takes more time than I tend to be willing to give it, which is sort of populating a room, realizing like it's not enough just to draw walls and floors and the few key pieces that the characters interact with, but like to make it look like a lived-in space, a space that's been around for a while, you have to consider sort of the stuff that we don't see, right? And so that takes a lot of time. But once that's kind of established, and some people use like 3D sort of basic rendering programs to kind of lay stuff out, I think those are good ideas. I just have never gotten into it because it's a whole new learning curve that I don't have the patience for at this point. Plus, I have more fun with characters. I use a lot of flat blacks in my comic, and especially with my characters. Because there's such a limited color palette for the comic, you can't have too much nuance in terms of hair color or clothes colors. Like there's kind of like light, medium, or gray, and black. And being a guy that ostensibly comes from an animation background, I was never really working as an animator except in sort of an internship position. The principles behind design and behind animation really shaped how I approach making comics even to this day. And a lot of that is based around silhouettes. And what that means is you should be able to distinguish who the characters are just by looking at their silhouettes, minus any distinguishing details that you would draw in otherwise. And so I think part of because of that, I like emphasizing silhouettes of characters, and so an easy way to do that is to just put a lot of flat blacks on them. And it is a striking look as well. It really stands out from the page, and this page actually has a lot of just strong sections blacked out with a layer of ink, and the final result looks pretty cool. I struggle a little bit with regard to how much I should render. I might have talked about this on a previous video. How much shading should I do on the characters themselves in the world behind them? Because having done the comic for 5 years now, I kind of, even while penciling it, even with the light blue pencils, I'm thinking of how I'm going to tone it or color it, for lack of a better word. And know that I can do a lot of the rendering, meaning showing depth, showing space, using shadows and other sort of and highlights and stuff like that. How much I can do with just Photoshop and the palette that I use for my comics. But since this scene takes place inside at night in the rain, I decided to kind of, especially during this talking scene, I decided to really kind of lean into it more than I usually do, just to kind of keep things looking interesting. I don't want to cheap solve, I don't know the word I'm looking for, my way out and just get the characters in there and get out and say I'll fix it in Photoshop. I want to actually try to establish as much mood with just pen and ink as possible. Another way to kind of enhance the visual distinction of a page is to really stretch the stylization of it. And that's why sometimes I get a little wonky, especially from this panel of the perspective, and kind of push things out of the way to really set up a nice composition, but also to draw out the character. So I'm real excited for chapter 4 to be out there. I just got to get done drawing it, coloring it, lettering it, all that fun stuff. But that's going to do it for this video. Please check out the other videos that are on the site or on the YouTube channel, I guess you can call it a channel. And I'll catch you next time. So until next time, thanks for watching me draw.